Hello, everybody. It's just a hair past noon. It's 12:06 on the 23rd of August, 2026, and I am working on my flashcard builder. Flashcard builder, I always put like extra thought into this one because I really do think this is the foundation to a learning system that I can create for myself that will help me incredibly help me in a big way. I'm really excited about it because like I really enjoy learning new things. I enjoy reading, but it's weird. I can't really learn from reading. I have to like take what I'm reading and then highlight it. And then when I highlight it, after I highlight it, what I do is I usually write all the questions. I create flashcards and then I write a bunch of questions and then I go back through with my flashcards and my highlighted book and I flip it over and I try to answer the questions and I write down the answers on the other side and then I use that to go through. And I think this would be a way to expand on that whole concept and make it even fast. It would be faster and I think better. One, it's faster because I'll be able to use voice or chat GPT or something to generate the cards. So that'll be a lot faster, but it's also, I think, better because it will include other senses other than just um, my writing and reading, right? Like it'll be voice sounds and things like that. Like so, I think the data I will be able to remember things more effectively and faster with that. Additionally, I think it'll be really cool because I think I can leverage this to then make like crossword puzzles, matching things, just all kinds of different sort of other schemes based on the data that gets generated from this system. So I think that is pretty useful. Now I don't really remember exactly what this means. It says make content viewer section a reusable component. Maybe it'll make more sense. So I don't see anything that says content viewer. So, but the way it generally works, which is pretty cool, is you turn this on, you say allow it, and then select prompt. What is my name? Marty. And I guess it's probably still listening. I don't know. No, we're all done. So that's cool. So what is my name? Marty. It works. It's like the foundational pieces all fit together. Now I think if I am guessing is viewer section is probably this in here. Is anything named viewer? Oh, okay. So now it's still listening, which, obviously we're gonna have to get the timing and all that down right. Oh, you know what? And I can actually do it. All right. So it's like, what is my name? Marty. Done. All right. So yeah. Now it's wild that it put a capital letter on that one. It didn't do it on that one. Um, let's see. So I'm guessing this is the viewers section, and I want this to be a reusable component. That's what I think. And see, this is one thing I want to be clear is if you were to go back and watch last week's video, I thought I was being very, very, very clear in this, right? So when in the response, get to view the voice results, make the content viewer section. I don't think I have the word content viewer anywhere in here, do I? Yeah, I don't even know. So whatever I was doing there is not terribly obvious. So we have this response.html. Gather. So I'm guessing this is the content viewer. And I'm kind of thinking this is a content viewer because I want to make it reusable, so I would need to use it in multiple places. So this is the only place I can think of that I would want to make something reusable. So, that is how that works. Gather. Let's see. So we have our gatherers. Okay, so this is our flashcard. We have our gatherers, and then we have our prompt and a response. And theoretically, I actually strongly believe I made a bad decision early to not make prompt and response the same component that gets reused. I think I made the conscious decision that I knew it was a bad decision, but I wanted to see what it worked out to. And it actually ended up forcing me into some really good architectural learning situations to mitigate the mistake I made. And that was the idea of building services, limited scoped services, as opposed to the for root singleton services. And but that had a ripple effect because I decided I wanted to do that in my other project, my big project that I'm spending, I've spent years and years working on, and that ended up breaking every unit test, or tons of the unit tests, not everyone, but lots and lots of the unit tests ended up breaking, and it just wasn't worth figuring out anymore. I'll be very curious to see if unit tests ever come back. But I think the next step is going to be to go into my package.json. And I'm wondering, is this a good time to do a commit? I mean, we do have everything's working. It's got all this extra stuff. I don't think it's a good time to do a commit. I can argue it both ways. I can see both sides of it. All right, so we want to create a component called, what do I want to call it? And I have this sort of informal rule that anytime I open the package.json, I try to close everything else that's open. That's just tends to be a very good time to do it. So I want to go to my README and see what I said specifically again. I'm amazed at how often my boss will just spend all kinds of time writing up a really, really good description of exactly what I need to do. Then I start working on it, and then while I'm working on it, I sort of get lose track of what the original set of requirements are, and then I end up building something that works, but doesn't quite work the way it was described, and then I reread it, and then I'm like, oh crap, this doesn't even do at all what I was told to do, and then I have to kind of go back and redo all the work again because I just did the wrong thing. That happens all the time. But I learn a lot that first time through, and then I can usually build exactly what he wants the second time through. Okay, so we make the content. Oh, okay. Yeah, update prompt to use the new, update result to use the new component. Okay. Then my numbers are a little screwy. 15, 16. You can really remember, kind of get a good idea of what your mental state was a lot of times when you do this, when you see what mistake you made in the past and all that. So for some reason I didn't renumber everything, which is unusual for me. I would typically renumber everything. All right, so make content viewer section a reusable component. All right, so we're going to call this content viewer, and I'm guessing it needs to live inside of gatherers, right? It's part of a gatherers. We have our prompt controls viewer. Okay. Gatherer viewer component. And then the latest, I feel like they used to put the word component in things. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember for sure. NGGC. And I don't think we have to say the apps, but we do have to say the components. Flashcard editor, I guess that's what we want. Flashcard dash editor slash gathers slash viewer component. That is something I just started doing again. I think they used to put the word component in there. And now they're not putting that. But maybe that could be completely wrong. I'm just not sure on that. That's why I'm very hardcore stressing. I think I used to. And I've been so much more sure about so many other things in the past and been completely wrong that, it would not surprise me. Viewer component. And then, now we're building. All right. Now, basically, this component, I can't figure out, should the component listen to a signal or should it get what it needs from like an input, which, could be a signal as well. But I think it should be a listen to a signal. And I don't know exactly why. This is a bit of a new situation for me. Viewer component. And I'll tell you, I have found myself at odds with almost every other developer I know. I love to just put extra, like I love to have, did I just delete the whole thing? I just wanted to delete the, oh no, there it is. I love to have all the words. So I like to know that this is viewer component, even though it is inside a component, and even though there's an app component there, because if I'm referencing it anywhere, I like to know I'm working with a component. And I'm not necessarily always referencing it in this class. So, so that's why I like those extra words. And so now, and I also like this, right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say viewer component. Right now, there's absolutely no reason for it to be named viewer component. None. There's no benefit at this moment in time and in this specific context to name this thing viewer component. But then when I come here to prompt and I say import, I think it's an import, right? And we say viewer component. Viewer component. Right? Now I say viewer component here, and then I say, oh, that's weird. Oh, we got it there. What is this? What's on line 11? Oh, that's where we import a component. Oh, what's on 10? Oh, that's where we import a module. Right? Yes, it doesn't help me at all in the component itself, but boy, does it help me in the imports to know that, oh, okay, so yeah, I just brought in the viewer component. And that is I cannot communicate that. I just don't know why I can't communicate that, but I constantly have to at work, I constantly have to rename things to shorter things. I'm constantly getting pushback from juniors, seniors, managers, everybody pushes back my overnaming of things. I've got to learn how to communicate that. I've got to figure out how to write or how to say words that explain that that there are scenarios where you're outside of the basic code that you're reviewing, and it makes it a lot easier to understand because you're looking at a component. And it's weird because, like, let's say I change a bunch of code, right? And I have like something and I've named the heck out of it, right? And now it's being used over here, and over here it's helping because it's like, oh, okay, these details are not obvious to me when I'm here. But the thing is then when I remove it here and then I remove it here, it's for some reason anyone who sees that change doesn't recognize that it's going to be very difficult in the future to make sense of that. And I guess that's not even their problem. So, I guess that's part of it. But anyways, so now in our viewer component, we want to go into our gather prompt and response. So let's just go in our prompt. Which one is this though? We are. Where did I? Oh my gosh, now I'm confused. Okay. So did I bring it in? Did I put it in the controls? Okay, so anyways, that was completely wrong anyways. Because it doesn't go into controls. Controls. Okay, so we want to go into prompt. So the prompt is the one on the left. And so let's go here. Boom. Viewer component. Boom. So it's so wild. Like on the last one, it brought it in automatically. This time, it gave me a blue thing. It's so strange. Like to me, it's the thing that is really crazy about the whole thing is, okay, so this is our gatherer component. Oh. Why in the world do I have a comma there? Oh, I still have the name. I think it's app. Let's try to do this. App viewer component. It's good to test your memory from time to time. It's like I play Ultimate Frisbee with my sons, and I'm pretty sure I'm more than double the age of almost everyone out there. Yeah. Or at least like I don't think there's anybody that's like, at least like on Friday there was no one that was like, I think 30 was the oldest, and I'm 58. And I noticed a lot of the we had some new people, a lot of the young guys, like you could tell that it really bothered them that they couldn't remember certain things and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's just a hardware issue. Okay, so let's try this. Hello world. So as you see, we get our viewer component there. Now we don't have it. We haven't done it here yet. So let me go ahead and do that. So we're gonna need. So that one's called viewer component, right? And we want it in our response. And then viewer component. So that I can remember that because I named it viewer component. So it's not because like my brain's working better or worse. It's just that I named things in such a way that it would all make sense. That's why I keep trying to tell people. I think that, well, suppose I was told by like somebody who was like okay, I was told by somebody who was told by somebody who was told by somebody that they buy. And I was told that the person was like the #1 Alzheimer's doctor in all of Orlando, Florida, or Central Florida or something. Or maybe Florida. I just don't even remember, right? So this is not like medical advice. It's not even like something I'm particularly sure about. But I was told that the doctor told this person um, that most people who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's actually have B12 deficiency. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I am just a strong believer that a lot of people that think that they have some sort of like actual physical problem in their brain, like there's some buildup, they think there's a buildup or something, or they've come up with some story about how their brain isn't functioning the way it's supposed to because of whatever. I think the majority of those people, just personal gut feeling, right? Just from someone whose opinion you should not care about. But my personal gut feeling is that that's more of a hardware thing. It's just like you haven't created like the structure for remembering things in such a way that you'll be able to remember them. And so just as the number of things that you need to remember grow. And right now we just remember, like, I think in the 1970s, most people went their whole lives. If you were 90 years old in the 1970s, you probably literally went your whole life without ever needing to remember a password. Now people need to remember a dozen passwords. It's just, and they're changing all the time. Like I feel like I remember when people would all forget their PINs, their 4-digit number. So anyways, let's see. Hello. All right, so I said hello, and my granddaughter just said hi, and she just started talking. She's 1 year old, so I hear the other one go hi after I said hello. It's so crazy. It's so fun. It's so fun when even the littlest things just tickle you because just life can be that way. All right, so now viewer component. Now the thing to think about with the viewer component is there is a service that is limited to just the response, and there's another identical service that's limited to just the prompt, and I can't remember what it's called. It's called like Gather Controls Publisher Service. And see, I think that this is where, like, it's such a great idea, right? Like having these scope services, but I don't think it's particularly scalable, and it's not scalable because it just would be very, very difficult to keep track if you had hundreds of these things. I think. I don't know. I haven't played that out. That's just an opinion. I mean, I feel like it's an opinion a little bit better than my, like, ooh, I understand Alzheimer's when I have absolutely no medical background and absolutely no concept. I have no clue what I'm talking about. This, I actually do have some clue what I'm talking about. I have noticed that trying to manage scale groups of things out like this, when you have like sorts of these abstractions where they only apply in certain places and all that, just gets out of hand very quickly. But so does everything talking to everything too. So there's just no easy answers, which is awesome and sucks at the same time. But now if I see, there's like two ways that I could get access to this Gather Controls. And it's kind of weird because one is like a code way and the other is kind of like a config way. So this is kind of like a config way, right? I'm passing in like a configuration object. But then inject, this is like a code way. So if you use the code way, then the injector travels up something that I believe is called an injection tree, and it keeps traveling until it finds one. And the one it finds is going to be the first one that has a config provider instead of an inject provider. So when I create this, so this prompt, it has a viewer component, and the gatherer or response, it has a viewer component. So it's only going to be able to see information. This guy right here will only be able to see information in the response. It'll only be able to hear information from the response for that specific thing. And then this one, and that's assuming that I inject it, right? So I'm going to inject it. In order to be able, It's weird. I wonder why it's complaining about that. We do use it, right? So typically this thing is here when you're not using it. But it's wrong because I am using it. I have it in the template response. And then, all right, so what am I trying to, oh yeah, I'm trying to inject the proper thing. And see, like everything I'm doing right now, this injecting and all that stuff, is all going to be like, I wouldn't be talking normally when I'm doing that. So since I'm normally not talking, it's like easy to remember. So response. This name of this thing that is up here is the Gatherer Controls Publisher Service. Uh-oh, this may not be right. This is probably not right. Because I don't think the Gather Controls has that. Uh-oh. So this is actually more complex than I was thinking. Okay, so... See, I was thinking it was coming for Gather Controls, but it's not. I think it's coming from Voice Recognition Service. So let's go back over here. Just double check that. So this is using the current voice text. Okay, so that tells me, actually that settles it, because the problem is that I think this parent component, this response, see, I wish the word was component, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm lasered in on this, and it's like, what is this? And it's like, oh, well, there's an HTML. Okay, the cognitive load was higher to determine this was a component. Over here, there was no cognitive load to determine that this was a component because it was named -component. So, anyways, it's like kind of like a silent killer. You know, you just like don't know. So we are looking for this string. Yeah, current voice text, and I'm guessing I do some sort of stuff for current voice text. Yeah, see, I'll clear it. Yeah, okay. So that logic, I think, belongs up in the parent. So that means that that's duplicate logic. Now, I think what I want to do, and because I'm not super experienced with using inputs as signal inputs, and I believe it was a capital I cannot remember. So I'm going to need a little help from ChatGPT. Again, like in my brain, I'm immediately thinking, okay, I want to learn this. This is something I want to learn, so I actually don't want to, like, just ask it for some code and then copy the code, because I actually want to learn this. So in my Angular 22 project, I am setting up an input to a component. So my understanding is that there are two versions of this. One is signal based, and one is not. Is that correct? So I think this will force a lookup, but I don't know. Because, you know, these tools are only as good as the person wielding the tool, but the problem is there's no training on how to use these tools. So yes, exactly. You can define code as two styles. So this is the capital I. So capital I, you give it a little at, and when you see a little at there, that means that it's a decorator. So that's the old-fashioned version. then there's the signal-based approach, and that's the lowercase I. And you do it this way. And I believe you can even make it required. Yeah, so you can do this too. You can say, hey, it's required, which is pretty nice, I think. So let's go ahead and see what we can do without. Let's see if we can. If that was enough. I feel like that was enough for me. I'm gonna move this on to multiple lines. You know, where when you work with developers, you get like everything can be an argument. Everything can come off, can get out of whack. And man, moving this to a 2-line format, I thought was going to be a war, because it had been a war in past jobs. It was so easy to get everyone to agree to that. At my current job, it blew me away. All right, so now we want, this is input, and this is the user text, I guess. But it's not name, I think it's user text. And it's a string. Okay, so now, wherever I'm using it should not build now, because I made that required. And I thought we already put it inside of the response in the prompt. But maybe not. Oh yeah, there it is. That's so weird that, I don't know, man. The thing works so inconsistently. I would definitely, okay, so it's user text, and that is equal to current voice text. So since it's a equal, like I could say user text is equal to hello, right? And it'll use the actual literal string. But if I put brackets around it, then it's looking for a value, and that's going to be current voice text. And that is actually the exact same thing over there. So I recently decided to try to learn to play piano, and it's been absolutely wonderful, right? Because I've never played any musical instrument before in my life. All my kids play instruments, and almost everyone that they interact with plays musical instruments. Like, they all love musical instruments. My wife actually has a lot of relatives that are professional musicians, but neither of us ever got music lessons, but she did play some growing up, and I did do chorus growing up. But I'm amazed at how many videos I watch of people trying to teach people to learn to play the piano, and they're like, and it's just the easiest thing, and on day one you could do this, and then they have all these hand skills that they've developed, where especially the one that I'm running up against is using your hands independently. Being able to use the hands independently, but they have no empathy whatsoever for most people don't know how to do that with their hands, and that is a real problem in coding too. Like, we just have no empathy for when people just don't know how to do something that we don't remember learning how to do. I think it just spans all complex things. All right, so now I think we should have two things, I think. Well, so we don't have the microphone on. I keep going back and forth on whether I don't think the microphone should have to be on, because I think you're going to be able to manually write in, but it's so awkward right now. Okay. What is your favorite kind of animal? Dogs, of course. All right, so obviously I didn't save something. Did I not save something? We got to save. Oh, I don't. Actually, and see, here's the joy of everything, right? Because now it'll go in both places. So I wouldn't have had to do that at all if I had made prompt and response a a um, a reusable component, a single reusable component. But so instead, I'm making all the parts reusable. So, and again, I think it's like one of the saddest things I think in humanity is that we have all been trained to hate failure and hate losing. But you can learn so much more from failing and losing. like you might be able to learn over like decades a little bit by winning constantly. You know, you get a couple pointers here and there. But man, when you lose, that opens up so many things that to you. And I don't know if that's on purpose, like if someone out there is purposely. Oh, this is awesome. See, so now we get a pair. And oh yeah, the microphone is off. So that was cool because we turned it off. So basically, gave me my two answers. So I think that shows that I can just get rid of this. Now in response, so we no longer have, like we have duplicate code, but any logic or something can happen at the viewer. And I'm making a bet, right? There's a bet happening right now. My bet is that nothing in here is going to end up being reusable. But anyways, my daughter-in-law just came over to pick up my granddaughter. So I'm going to go socialize a little bit. And we actually finished 2 things, so that's awesome. I'll go back and update the README offline. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.